hanging out with the wrong person. But here we go. Josh, take it away.
How are you guys doing? Okay. So, like Paul said, last week his message was on the free gift. That's the sermon series, and the free gift is the gospel. But now, what now? My lesson is called Let Your Light Shine. Now, has anyone gone into like Lake County legends and stuff, and just things that the history that's happened in Lake County? Some of it's kind of cool. So, have you guys heard of the plane crash in 1999 on Mount Canocti? Has anyone visited the plane crash on Mount Canocti? Okay, so it was an old couple, or I don't know if they were old. It was a couple. They were in Santa Rosa going to like Ukiah, or they were going somewhere, and they were flying. They had a doctor's appointment or something. I looked it up, and they were flying. They lost communication. And they're trying to like connect with the tower, like control, and all of a sudden, boom, they crash into Mount Canocti. Both lives dead. That was the end of the story. And now you can like go hike up there, and it's super cool. And why do I say this? Have any of you guys seen the weird alien light on top of Mount Canocti that flashes red?
Yeah.
I never knew what it was until a little bit ago, but it's the light that they put up there so planes can see it. Yeah, thanks. I know I'm kind of dumb. But it's the light that they put up there so the planes can see it. So it blinks, blinks, blinks. I can see it from my house. How many of you guys can see it from yours? Nice. So it's pretty cool. What do you think would happen if you covered it or turned it off?
Oh, the plane could crash.
Plane could crash, exactly. The light would not blink if I turned it off, exactly. And if the light doesn't blink, then the planes can't see it, and they go boom. And that's not good, and then we have another place to hike to on Mount Canocti. But we don't want that to happen. So, that's on Buckingham Peak. It's to warn those people so they don't crash into the mountain. Us as Christians need to think of ourselves as that light. It says in Matthew 5:14 through 16, and it's talking to, when it says you, it's talking to like us Christians. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. So we need to be the light of God, because all of the other people in the world, they're those airplanes, and we're the light on Mount Canocti. And if we're not shining and saying, hey, this is who Jesus is, and the mountain is hell, and if they crash into hell, that's not very good. So we want to show Jesus through our actions and our words and our deeds. That is how you're the light of the world. You're not going around with a flashlight and like shining it in people's eyes. That's just kind of weird, and people will think you're weird. But you're showing them who you are, who Jesus is through your actions and deeds. Now, I have another analogy. Analogies get confusing, but I like this analogy. Okay, so if you were standing somewhere and you're looking at a railroad track, and I won't use names because you guys would be like, no. But if you saw some random person standing there, just kind of like zoned out, and there's a train heading straight towards them, what would you do?
I would say, don't worry about this. I would just like wanted to shove them out of the way.
Yeah, shove them out of the way, yell at them. Evan, what would you do?
The old people shove them out of the way so that they get run over. We just tackle them. So
You tackle them. So you're going to make sure they don't get hit by this train, right?
You don't get hit by the train.
You don't want to get hit by the train. You don't want them to get hit by the train. You're going to do whatever you can to make sure nobody gets hit by the dang train, right? So, that's what's happening every day. All of these people, there's a train called hell coming straight towards them. And it's our jobs as Christians to push them out of the way. And we're not just pushing them out of the way and they're like, ow, get hurt. We're pushing them into heaven. We're saying, hey guys, we're yelling at them saying, hey, there's a train called hell coming at you, and I want you guys to go to heaven. You're showing them, you're being that light on the mountaintop that blinks red so the airplanes don't crash into it. You're being the light that tells them who Jesus is and how to get to heaven. Just like Paul was telling you guys the gospel, that's the light that you're trying to, it's the free gift of God. In Mark 5:19 through 20, this is right after he's talking to a guy we just healed from a demon. And he says, and he did not permit him, but said to him, go home to your friends and tell them how much the Lord has done for you, and how he has had mercy on you. And he went away and began to proclaim in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and everyone marveled. So the Decapolis, that's just a place that he went. You guys can go to your schools. How many of you guys just started school? That sucks. Anyway, so, but you guys have that opportunity now. How many of you guys know someone who's not a Christian? Yeah, most of you know someone who's not a Christian. So think about them. If there's a train coming towards them right now, and you want to be the person who proclaims, Jesus said to the guy, go and tell your friends what the Lord has done for you. So if you're a Christian, that means the Lord has done something for you. He's given you his free gift. That's why this sermon series is called The Free Gift. So this is what it means to be saved. You're telling them that, and telling them this is called your testimony. So your testimony, in 1 Peter 3:15, it says, but in your hearts revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect. That's kind of confusing. But what it's saying, it says, everyone who asks you to give the reason for hope that you have. You don't really have any hope in life unless you're a Christian. Because it's saying what you're hoping for at the end of your life. If you're not a Christian, you're hoping for nothing. You're hoping to die and it's I don't even know, blackness or gone, no memories. If you're a Christian, you're hoping to be in heaven with the Lord for eternity. And so when everyone asks you, you should have an answer. It says, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for hope that you have. So that's what we got to do. We got to be ready with our testimony. So this isn't the story of what God has done, or this isn't the story of you. It's the story of what God has done in your life. There's multiple characters, but the main character isn't you when you give your testimony. The main character is God. So, what you're supposed to do, or a testimony, a good basis for it, is who you were before Christ, what Christ did for you, and who you are after Christ. And sometimes parts of that story will be really short. I got saved when I was 3. So my story, who I was before Christ, is real tiny. And I have some examples. Actually, part of my example is standing up in the back right there. He doesn't know it. It was cool that he's here. But, so when I was 2.5, 3 years old, I wrote my name on the wall. So some people, with their kids, they write their sibling's name on the wall to blame them, right? Has anyone done that or heard that? Bella, did you write Noah's name on the wall? So, I wrote my own name on the wall. And me, as my 2.5 self, my mom and dad came up to me and they said, Josh, who wrote Josh on the wall? And I was like, Jonathan? They're like, no, don't lie. Who wrote Josh's name on the wall? Kristen? No. Kimber? No. So I thought, and my 2.5-year-old brain came up with the perfect lie. Mr. Esser. And no. And I got in trouble, and that was terrible. And so, Mr. Esser, I still think it was you who wrote my name on the wall and blamed me for it. But no, I was a lie. I was a sinner before I was saved. But then, my brother Jonathan, who's sitting right there, told me about how to be saved, and I became a Christian and never sinned again. False. That is a complete lie. See, just like I was lying about writing my name on the wall, I still lie. And I'm still a sinner, just like last year, one of my more exciting moments where I stumbled and sinned. I was here playing dodgeball. Have any of you guys done something in dodgeball and just gotten so angry? Me too. So I got super angry, and Paul called me out for something, and I take the ball and I chuck it at the wall, and he goes, "Nice, now you're out for next game." And I just snapped. I sinned there, and I walked out of the room, slapped the wall, really hurt my hand, and just like walked up to the parking lot, just like, so angry that Paul would dare to do that to me. That, again, was a sin. And so look, I've been a Christian since I was 3, but just last year, and many, many, many times after that, and even today, every day, I am a sinner. So, but God, every day, since I'm a Christian, I'm walking with Jesus. And Jesus, He changed my life from that moment that I became a Christian. And every day, I've been walking with Him, drawing closer to Him, closer to Him, closer to Him. Just recently, I had the call that I want to be a pastor, because I really feel like that's the best way for me to tell everyone about God. And so that is just a quick my testimony. And so all of you guys, if you guys have been saved, you have a testimony like that. Next week, we're actually going to have 2 or 3 people give their testimonies. One of them is Eric Jameson. Woo! Go Eric. He's going to give his testimony. And so we're going to be super happy to have those people. I'm going to have a few more people who are going to give their testimonies. But you guys should really be thinking, if you're a Christian, think, what is my testimony? The verse said, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you. Everyone. So right now, if someone came up to you and said, hey, what does it mean to be a Christian? Or how do I become a Christian? Could you guys honestly answer that? The best way to answer that is with experiences. Like say, Jesus changed my life. I am a Christian, and I am better for that now that I am a Christian, and Jesus has come into my life. And so that's exactly what I want you guys to try to do. Maybe it's not today, maybe it's not tomorrow, but start thinking and maybe even write down your testimony. So like I said before, it's who you were before Christ, what Christ did for you, and who you are after Christ. Some people are going to have testimonies and you're going to be like, man, your testimony is so much cooler than mine. That's not how it is. Everyone's testimony is amazing because it's God changing their life. You might have not come from I did all the drugs and I killed 2 people, but now I'm saved and I'm a missionary in Africa. Yeah, it might not be like that. And that's great. Good. I don't want you guys to do drugs. So that's awesome. Don't murder people. That's terrible. But your testimony is great. So in small groups, I want you guys to talk about, you don't have to say it like out loud, like, this is what I am. But talk about that. Try to get the basics for your testimony. Who you were before Christ, what Christ did for you, who you are after Christ. So I'm going to bring Paul up now. That's my lesson. He's going to break you guys up into small groups.
I want to share one thought before I break up into small groups. On Monday, I walked into the office and I was supposed to have a brunch down here for Center of Life Choices, but I walked in a little bit late.